to the Feed Friday. Welcome you all to the Feed Friday Future Fit Leaders series, episode 7. As we are about to start the session, we request your support towards making it a well organized and well recorded session. For the same, everyone except the guest speaker and my co anchor to kindly mute your microphone and switch off your cameras. This is just to make our logistics in place. Also, request you all to fill in the form as shared in the chat box. This is important to us because with this we gather your valuable feedback and incorporate your suggestions to make the series more interesting, engaging, and rewarding. As well, your basic information captured in the Google form will enable us to keep you posted regarding our upcoming programs. We would request our audience to post their questions in the chat box during the conversation, which we will discuss at the end of the rapid fire round. Thanks so much and appreciate your support during this very interesting Feed Friday Future Fit Leaders Series, episode 7. With this, I would like to welcome our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Vijay Rai. Vijay works as a Chief Growth Officer, Asia Pacific region, and member of the executive board with Day One Technologies, an Atlanta-based company at the United States. Prior to this role, he worked as Managing Director APAC and EMEA markets, President and CEO with Indian and global companies. His diverse experience of over 25 years across varied sectors, including manufacturing, infrastructure, retail, consulting, telecom, technology, healthcare, and so on, has been phenomenal. Vijay has a master's in business administration and brings a vast expertise in business and people leadership. He has been conferred with many awards and recognitions like Outstanding CEO, Inspirational Leader, and few more. Vijay is a member of CII, ASOCHAM, and is on the board of several B schools as a mentor, speaker, and chair in national and international forums. We are looking forward to have an insightful discussion with Vijay on our Future Fit Leader series through our Feed Friday episode 7. Welcome once again, Vijay, to the series.
Thank you very much, Swati, for the kind introduction.
It's a pleasure to have you today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me now share that the Feed Friday series is conceived, developed, designed by Futuralista Consulting Partners, a boutique consulting and management research firm committed towards creating future-ready organizations. It provides entire spectrum of HR services and solutions and work together with corporates as transformation partners. We are also pleased to announce that Futuralista website is live now. All our past episodes are available for viewing, engaging leadership insights. Request our audience and leaders to visit the website www.futuralista.in. Business with a leading cause has led to the collaboration of Futuralista with the SAFE Foundation, a not-for-profit organization which works towards building an inclusive ecosystem for persons with disabilities and empower them to become productive contributors of the society. With this, our idea of bringing Feed Friday Future Fit Leaders series, a premier online conversation series focused on leadership and challenges in the VUCA world, is committed to exploring, understanding, and addressing the corporate community's most challenging issues. Every Friday evening, we invite a thought leader involving CEOs, CHROs, and CXOs across industries and sectors to discuss their insights into the idea of future fit leadership during these unprecedented times. The conversation is structured primarily around the three dimensions: future, fitness, and leadership. As the name of the series suggests, we explore and understand how leaders are envisioning the future, which and what are some of the critical shifts happening and bringing new challenges and disruptions. Having said this, now it's time to begin our conversation with Vijay and introduce my co-host, Mr. Anirudh Singh, who is an HR and business transformation professional with about 25 years, hi Anirudh, with about 25 years of experience and an integral member to our Feed Friday series. And myself, Swati Yadav, a global HR expert with 22 decades of experience across varied sectors and also the founder and CEO to the SAFE Foundation. Together, we shall be presenting the series as anchors today. And now I would like to hand over the conversation to Anirudh to commence the series discussion with Vijay. Over to you, Anirudh.
Thank you, Swati, for such a powerful and perfect introduction. Good evening and a warm welcome to all the participants and today's guest speaker, Mr. Vijay Rai. So as we begin, let's explore for a moment the future context that we are getting ready for. The businesses are facing a wave of disruptive influences. Uncertainties are the norm.
Sorry, Anirudh, you have gone on mute.
Go on mute.
I don't know. I didn't. I'm sorry. So good evening, and thank you, Swati, for such a powerful and perfect introduction. A warm welcome to all the participants and today's guest speaker, Mr. Vijay Rai. As we begin, let's explore for a moment the future context that we are getting fit for. The businesses are facing a wave of disruptive challenges, influences, uncertainties are the norms. There is a multifaceted world crisis, a health crisis, an economic crisis, a societal crisis, a racial crisis, an environmental crisis, and also rising geopolitical tensions. In the face of these challenges, there's a growing realization that businesses and societies cannot thrive, cannot prosper if employees, customers, and communities are not healthy. If our planet is on fire and our society is fractured, Vijay, what are your views on addressing these interconnected emergencies facing our societies and planet? Seismic shifts and mega trends driving these massive exponential disruptive changes. Over to you, Vijay.
Thank you, Anirudh, and thank you all the audience here. And thanks for this kind introduction. I am so privileged and honored to be here this afternoon to share my views, thoughts and ideas about the future, what we see from here. So I was thinking when I was being given the opportunity to present my views, I was thinking that, do I really have a crystal ball gazing or crystal ball with me? As people say, can we see the future? And if we can see the future, how far we can see the future? A friend of mine asked me, who is an astrologer, and he was telling me that, Vijay, if I want to give you a date when you are going to die and the cause how you will die with, would you really be happy or sad? I really didn't know what to really answer because I was going into the future and thinking, if I know the date when I will leave this world, then what is that I'm supposed to do? I'll be fixed in my mind. I would really know the reason and the date of my leaving this world. So when people claim to know the future, it's rooted in making extrapolations from today, and importantly, what problems are solved by various tools like forecasting and planning and various other techniques which we use in the business and the corporate world, and for that matter in the life. So we always talk about innovating, reimagining the future. That's what the thing was. But do you know that reimagining is not that easy? Because innovation and reimagination is the sum total of all the viewpoints and experiments, what we really conduct and what we experience in life. As human beings, we normally estimate and assume and draw inferences based on existing data values, any curves, any trends, events, and future then becomes are extension of the past, isn't it? And normally we see that future is an extension of what we think, what we have done in the past and how you think today. It becomes a natural extension of the present. Is it true? Not true? Let's explore. I wish I had a crystal ball to gaze and see the future, a crystal ball to see and gaze the future, because it is not something where you are entering, but you are going to create it. And it is all within you. Am I right? So imagine what could be the future scenarios in your mind. What could be those future scenarios you would be having? Sad, glad, mad, gloom, doom, success, failure, whatever. And most of us in this world are not trained on this, how to really look at future from here, how many days ahead we can plan for. But normally we plan for 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years. In this context, this 5, 10 years planning is not going to work. And I'll give you some interesting idea and research on the kind of work which I'm doing with MIT Labs and the Forbes Technology Council and some of these interesting bodies, including Harvard, where we are doing some research in terms to see that what is the probable future we can see and how far we can see, so that we can actually prevent and predict a lot of these stuff, including very many techniques and very many tools. So thinking systematically, for example, is one which is very important here. Creatively, second, is very important. And when we talk about thinking creatively and strategically about how future might be, the future might be so different that we can be prepared for anything and not just be blindsided by any events like what we saw, like pandemic, which happened today. So let's hope that our interaction, and since our focus is on the future, will be better and we'll be able to shape the change in a proper manner. So this is a time, if I would like to say, for a tremendous awakening. We have seen the tsunamis, we have seen the COVIDs and the other pandemics in the world. Some of us, we have seen some of these crises, not exactly pandemic. At least I have not seen this kind of a pandemic in my life. So these are the tough times where, surfing the waves and high tides will require a different kind of skill set and a different kind of mindset, which is what I say, and mindset first. And this age is all about new paradigms, a major shifts and shocks, because we have seen a couple of crises, which is like tsunamis and the other crisis which has come. And I'm going to talk about some of these interesting things in the next few minutes. And how do we really become agile, which is the right word right now being talked. So it's harder to stay in the game nowadays. Therefore, we need to reimagine, to really look at the future focus and have that mindset which proactively shapes our future. Fundamentally, if I would say, with my experience of over the 2.5 decades, that leadership is all about future, but it starts today. It is not a fixed entity. So leaders of the future, if I will say, would like to be like a chief inspiration officer, because they need to inspire people to think. They need to inspire people to really understand the technicalities, understand the challenges, understand the possibilities and opportunities, what is on the horizon. So looking at the horizon and zooming that horizon in and zooming out becomes very important, what I call outside in and inside out perspective. So visionaries are required. And I have written in my introduction that I'm a visionary, bionic leader. I'll talk about it, what's bionic. Visionaries are those leaders who not only ensure that those people who not only work very hard to understand multiple perspectives and multitudes of viewpoints, but they will also do what interestingly, which is not being done by many people around the world, are that they build a hope and a landscape of the future and try to work on that. And for that reason, one of the biggest reimaginations and the biggest things which we see today, those people who are really improving, the people who are performing at jet speed, they require a real-time thinking, a real thinking. Someone asked me, by the way, what is reality for you? I mean, reality is reality. For if you're working in a context, you have to define reality in that very context. What is reality? And that the search for that reality, being closer to that reality, is that quest for that search for reality is on. And let me tell you, it is the definite to the indefinite, that two spectrums of definite, infinite and finite. How do you separate both? And that is the important factor here, where you are looking at finding out reality between infinite and finite. And there is so much of possibility if you look at infinite thinking and finite thinking. And that is the possibility, the world which we want to envision. So I would like to uh, just also touch upon a couple of other things, that the blur that we see that there is a blurring of the boundaries and blurring of the lines between two worlds. One is the world which is being there for ages, like what we call the fifth wave is the artificial intelligence wave. This right from steam engines to we are moving from to artificial intelligence. So we have seen the blurring lines between physical and digital, what we call phygital experiences. So let me summarize what I'm wanting to say, besides some of these things which we will talk later, is while at the end of the pandemic appears in sight to us, what we call the line of sight, how far is going to really continue, people's expectations from the organizations and from the brands, if I would say, have changed for all time, and changed for good, by the way. So brands and organizations must be very diligent than ever before, because they need to craft very winning or interesting strategic experiences for them. So this is world of experiences, design and experiences. And that can be done by infusing only continuous learning, continuous innovation into the business portfolio. That what our friends call this strategic and portfolio level thinking. So those people currently who will develop more connected, more emotionally compelling, and more pragmatic experiences are going to really stay ahead in the race, or perhaps will win the race to relevance, will generate more revenues, and will generate more exponential growth. So here, I would like to say, future is not just coming, it is already here. And I have a fear in my mind that when this COVID recedes, even if we see the next future, the next normal or the next future, people will forget and revert back to the old ways of thinking. That's the biggest fear which we have. So to me, what is effective leadership? It starts with a purpose. And that purpose is becoming the new order of the day, what we call leading with purpose and authenticity. So the reason why you are in business, that's the reason. Most people don't want a job today because they want an opportunity to make an impact and contribute to the greater good. That's the reason why we are talking about adaptability, resilience, and empathy, which is what is becoming the key words in this world today. So what is a worldview, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen? How do we see the world and how do we interpret that world? There are three things. What's a worldview? That includes how do we see the world? How do we interpret it? Because all happenings are all interpretations, and many people, millions of people, billions of people have their own lenses, different lenses. Somebody has a narrow outlook, somebody has got a broad outlook, somebody goes deeper. They look at facts, they look at history, they look at statistics, they look at the future possibilities from where they stand today. So for some of the people, it's a marathon, what I call strategic planning for 10 years, 20 years, long-term planning, and short-term implementation. And for some of them, it is short-term. The danger is the short-term planning because we don't have a long-term view. And that's the reason. Does not mean that you have to plan for 20 years in advance, because the world is changing, because continuous innovation, as I said, will keep you in touch with the reality. So many of us are already are ready for what we call the 2020, a reflection in the rear view mirror. We have seen this 2020 now going back, it's become now history. 2021 is the current present, and we see that in the rear view mirror. As we leave the better part of 2020 and 2021 behind us, what will take us to shake off what has been one of the most difficult years in the modern history? And I'm sure you will all agree with me. We have people from corporates. We have interesting people, I'm sure, from Panasonic, from IBM, from JBM. I'm sure a lot of people who would be there, from professors and students. There will be interesting takeaways for them. What are we going to teach, train? What are we going to learn from the history, which is what we are going to actually design and develop in the next few years. So, gentlemen, ladies, successful leaders will have to do one bigger thing. What I call embrace optimism and possibility thinking. That is not a competency which is being taught in business schools or basically not taught in any corporates. Because corporates will be running a rule-based, a research-based top 10, top 20. But I'm looking at the whole world from a new lens. And the new lens does not mean that you've forgotten the past. So embrace optimism, and I will touch upon some of these mega trends a little later, because I have some of the interesting things which I would like to share. Embrace optimism with a possibility thinking approach. There we as individuals, as professionals, need to cultivate what I call positivity and a growth mindset, which is very important to live a fulfilling life, forget about work. Currently, the way we view situations and events and our circumstances, that itself shapes how successfully we are able to navigate the challenges that the life throws at us. So a growth mindset thinking, which will allow us to view both talent as well as potential and things that can be learned and developed further, as opposed to a fixed mindset, which is mostly neutral and innate. When we embrace a belief that we can grow to improve, we experience greater degree of empowerment and commitment further. So, gentlemen, I have an interesting thing to show, all of the negativity. Sorry, which is I couldn't hear what you said. The moment I'm speaking, my watch is reading what I'm speaking, and they say the watch is saying, my Siri is saying that I couldn't hear what you said, couldn't understand what you said. So my Siri watch is not trained to understand what I'm talking right now. So there's a lot of negativity in the market. There's a lot of negativity on the horizon. I wanted to really give you a story in a very, very positive note, so that we can create that optimism and possibility mindset before you. Are you ready for it, Swati and all others? Are
sure.
you ready? So let me draw a picture in front of you in a story form, in a very, very different form, so that I can motivate and inspire as an inspirational leader. That's the main purpose today: inspire hope and confidence. So are you ready to go?
Yes, sure, Vijay.
It's interesting, Anirudh. It's very, very interesting that things we cherish most are the same things we walk right by. They become so intertwined in the status quo, all of us, that ultimately it becomes impossible to tell that it's possible becomes difficult, and that impossible remains the same until the things change. Because as it turns out, that thing what we call life is here to stay. There is a saying, you never really know what you have until it is gone. Sometimes it takes the most abrasive of reminders, like COVID, what we see today, or any of these tsunamis or shocks, the hardest of the times, to help recapture the perspective. What perspective? To lift us up and show us what we have previously failed to see. And while our darkest moments tests our strength, they push our boundaries even to transform society. They can also be the bridge that leads us exactly to where we need to be. They remind us that sometimes it's about how we spend our time. But how we spend is not important. It's important to understand to whom we spend it with. That quiet in your world will give you the clarity, and the world can spin so fast then that we forget to think our place within it. And it reminds us that humanity, please mind my word, humanity is bigger than the sum of its parts. And it takes just as much energy to build up as it does to tear us down. It reminds us that no matter where we live, what we speak, or what we pray to, we are not so different after all. It reminds us that there is no such thing called more good in this world than there is so much more good in this world than evil, so much more than hate, and so much promise for tomorrow. Sometimes we will look back at this moment where we are today with the lessons that we have learned now, the hardships that we have faced, many of us. I'm going to talk about the scenario broken health systems. And we will be reminded of that, the miracle that is called the human spirit, the biggest technology, the biggest invention of the world. And so, friends, unwavering in its foundation, we could be able to comprehend or not. We could see sometimes it is hard to look around and find a reason to be optimistic, because most of the times we become pessimistic, we give up, and we get scared, and we are actually fear struck. To understand and comprehend why, but what we will find is that if we look hard enough, immersed in the uncertainty which we are going through, the disruption, the tragedy, there is something to be gained. A tiny candle flickering in the night that will eventually grow to the light our own ways, because that road to tomorrow is paved with hope, Hope. There are pages which are unwritten now going forward. The stories are not told, the story is untold, and a new chapter to begin. So on that positive note, I will just give a small pause and request you to tell me, how did you feel?
So, wonderfully summarized, Vijay. Reimagining and innovation, sum total of these two is the future. And future is not just that you have to wait for, but you can create your future. And
so
what I liked is that.
So I'll continue with the, I'll have to continue for 1 or 2 minutes after this also. But just I wanted to take a sense of the house that, a lot of positivity is required, and that positive note and hope is required for leaders to instill into their organizations, into their lives, into their families, into their systems. And so any question or any interjection by anybody here, so that I can move to the second segment of the first question.
I think, Vijay, you move to the second, because it's very interesting the way you built up the story so far.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. So I was asked this question because now that I'm getting a little more pepped up and clear about addressing these interconnected emergencies, the question which I was asked, facing our societies and planet, and what are the seismic shifts and mega trends which are driving exponential change. I have skipped a lot of my thoughts in the background because I thought time is less and this could run into 1 or 2 days or 5 days program. But the idea was to give you some broader thinking and the thought leadership around how are we looking at going to see things further. So have you heard that someone said, I think it was Wayne Dyer, if I am not wrong, someone can correct me. There was something when was said that the change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. Am I getting it right? Change the way you look at things.
Absolutely, absolutely right.
And the thing you look at change. It was Wayne Dyer, rightly said so, isn't it? When you change the way you see the world, when your intentions are positive and powerful, that's what I just storified it a little while ago. When you search only for the good, then your life transforms into an amazing adventure that was designed to be. After all,
Absolutely.
After all, anything and everything in life, and it's all up to our interpretation. Everything in our life is up to interpretation. In a way, there is no such thing as reality because you create your own reality. And I like my friend Rajiv Bhaduria because he has been he's always been encouraging me to think differently. And you create your own reality with the way you think. Everything else is a byproduct. And this is extremely significant, friends, because it unblocks any door in the world which is closed. Otherwise, you will be working and with that blocker and things won't happen. To be able to have that perspective, you need to have that understanding that you are the one in control and you are not controlling others. You are the one in control, knowing that it will undoubtedly take you to different places. So Gandhiji said, be the change. Someone asked me that how do you manage change? I said, sorry, your question has to be reframed because I don't want to manage change because I am the change. And I'm not getting affected by change because I myself am the change. So the question, of course, is what are you doing about it if you are the change, right? It is no secret that if you look at things with a negative lens, they're going to appear negative. If you're fearful, your reflexes won't work. You will die. Organizations also, reflexes and immunity works like the same thing. So if you look at life as this giant tragedy, and you are always the helpless victim, guess what? Guess what, guys? If you think like you are always the helpless victim, what happens? Will you go ahead or will you be staying there? You will remain the same place, at the same place. So you are basically what I'm trying to do, if I would like to summarize, is that you are enabling a self-fulfilling prophecy and you will always remain the same way. So don't become a victim, don't become a captive, become the captain of the ship. Because the ship is in the high tide, you cannot think, but you have to look at very many ways to decide fast and find out how do you look at safety, survival, and going ahead. I'm a big believer that some of the most important worthwhile lessons in life are often the most simple and the most overlooked, yet very profound. One of the greatest realizations for all of us is that any situation is far less important than your interpretation, as I said, of it. In fact, I go so far as to say that anything in life is simply a product of meaning that we give it to it. Anything which we think, if we give meaning to it, it becomes meaningful. So we are who we believe we are. The world around us exists as we allow ourselves to see it. Right or wrong?
Absolutely.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So
Okay.
if you look at the future, it is all like that. Like difficult, the words, suppose for example, if you look at the words like it is difficult to do, it is impossible to do. We talk about this in organizations. We can't do it. We have done it the same way in the organizations. So these words for me, they have no meaning. They don't even exist until we give them life. We give them life. And that's the reason, think about it. Are we creating positivity, negativity, hope? What? You know, that constructing barriers that have absolutely no reason to be up is for no fun. So let me simplify this equation. Because to me, it's about having a goal and achieving it. That's it. Agree or disagree?
Absolutely.
You are at a point A and you want to go to point B. Then there are really two options. You can have a map, you map out your path and make it happen. Or you can create reasons that it is not possible. So both possibility thinking, can't do it. That you can do it, that success isn't for you. Choose it. What's the option? You can do it, I can't do it. So choose your option. So starting with these little things, like waking up early or you know, sleeping late or waking up early, like I slept 3 o'clock and I'm still awake. You know, these are habits. And if we look at what's in front of us, when we ask why I'm there, what's my purpose and why not? If I ask my purpose, why and why not, a lot of these things become clarified. And here is my take. If human beings got a man on the moon, like in the coming years, Mars will be full of life or we see life in Mars. That's the far future we can see. But before that, before you land on the moon, you land on your mind. So your mind is the actual engine. So we got on the moon and you can come up with a strategy to wake up early in the morning and without hitting a snooze button, because that's the passion, that's the dream you've seen. Like what Kennedy or what other people said, I have a dream. And that dream will actually enable organization to envision and visualize the future which they want to see for themselves. So see organizations as someone like futuristic winning entities who are ready to really plan and direct things to succeed. Leave all of the baggage behind you, all other leadership and theory and all those things, leave it behind you. It helps no one. Nothing is achieved with that. You know, life's great, you know what happens? Life's greatest accomplishments were achieved by people who didn't know. That unknowing, that means there is a possibility. If you know everything, and still can't achieve it, then there is a problem. So they were considered, these people were considered as impossible. They had a target and they hit it. There's a solution out there and it exists. The problem is there, the solution is there. It's just a matter of where you will make it happen, when you will make it happen, and ask those right questions. And that's where it is important to set yourself up to succeed, to brush those negativities which are in your mind, and to analyze what is in it front of you with the lens of someone who can and will get the job done. So for myself, I always like to help people, but surround yourself with positivity and optimism, first with yourself and positive people also. And sometimes you need to quit associating with those people. And many a times I would need to do that. That's a difficult art for me. Quit associating with people who always keep telling you you are good and you are good and you are good and you are yes. So be careful of the yes men. Yes men do a lot of harm because life is already so hard. You don't need additional hurdles like yes mans. It's all about you and the goal and your objectives. Not that you can do it. You will have to find out how you will do it. That's going to be the bigger problem. So just 1 or 2 minutes to wrap up, because this is a profound question and a lot of the answers are going forward. Let's just look at 3 things from the lenses: past lens, present lens, and future lens. That's how I look at future. Past, you've seen the future. What have you done in the past? What you need to stop doing? And what is the current, present? Certain things are happening, certain things happened, certain things are happening in parallel, and certain things will happen in future. And every day the future being created. Do you know, friends, 52% of Fortune 500 companies from the year 2000 are now extinct? This is not a typo error or an oversight what I'm talking. What does that mean for all of us? That means there is change, there is disruption. And that's the reason why the topic was chosen, disruptive leadership or leadership in the disruptive era. Change, disruption, turbulence, irrelevance, failure, they may have failed. So survival to fit for future is the actual way to go. 50 years ago, if you just see, the life expectancy of a Fortune 500 company or Fortune 500 brand was 75 years. Now it's less than 15. So it has been predicted now further that 9,000 companies could find their way on and off to the Fortune 500 list over the next 6 decades. So next 60 years, you will see 9,000 companies coming and going, and there is no what I call a steady path or something. Anybody who will really figure out or decode or recode this business leadership, how to survive, thrive, not survive, thrive, and make it to the list and stay there for many years, those are the people who are going to be really there. So this is an era, what I call business apocalypse. Business apocalypse. And what does that apocalypse mean? If for people who are students or other people who don't understand, apocalypse is creating, which is something like a landscape of companies, for example, dealing with external factors, internal factors, which are inhibiting them from successfully transforming themselves forward. And this is the reality of the day. Internal and external factors, if you don't really understand and analyze, and you're not clear about it as a team, as a leadership band, then it will really inhibit you to go forward. And that's what I call business apocalypse. So 50 years ago, as I said, life expectancy was 500 now, which is, and all of them, which I said. So this phenomenon, what I call is business apocalypse. And companies are perishing at an alarming rate because we are afraid of change. We don't want to really face change. So someone said, I don't know, this gentleman, I'm forgetting his name, but it slipped out of my mind. What got you here won't keep you here. What got you there won't keep you here. So you need time, but you don't have time. So these are very daunting truths. And these are the daunting truths which I wanted to simplistically present. So there is nothing called, there is no time like the present. And let us understand, friend, there's nothing which should come in our way, and there is no time like the present. But there is no time but the present to start doing, to start creating the future which we want. And by doing this, we can decrease our company's chances of failing to one of and falling into one of these statistics. But we must have the courage. The courageous leadership is very important. We lack significantly courageous leadership. I can give you a 1-hour discussion or 2-hour discussion on courageous leadership, how the courage index of the organizations and around the world with examples, how people have prospered and failed because they didn't have the courage. So let's start by unpacking and decoding the truth, what I call imagine, reimagine, and recode. Imagine, reimagine, and recode. So I have finished the second segment here. I would like to stop and take a pause here. Any questions or any interjections by anybody is welcome.
Yeah. Shall we take it forward, Vijay, now?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was noting down what you were talking, and there are a lot of nuggets you have given. And one of the things which I'm taking with me, and I'm repeating it for my audience too, that the future is sum total of your reimagination and innovation. What you reimagine and what you innovate creates your future. Another thing is that you said very beautifully that your perceptions create your emotions. Emotions leads to your communication and conduct. That creates your destiny. So it is all about how you perceive the world. And the human spirit is the biggest technology.
Yes.
Nothing can come. So you talked about a little bit about courageous leadership. It's all about the human spirit.
Right.
So talking about the courage and leadership. So if you look at the past, one of the biggest challenge for leaders historically has been the ability to predict changes. And now the core of our business ecosystem has been altered.
Right.
In current scenario, leaders need to change as well as help organizations to innovate. I'm taking it from the discussion. It's still relevant, I would say, and create value for their stakeholders. Not only that, they have to rebuild the organization culture in a way that the workforce remains motivated to deliver results and also to cater shifts in customer demands. Because constantly customer demands and perception are also changing.
Right.
So Vijay, how would you like to, what you're talking about, redefine the leadership, reimagining the leadership, recoding business leadership in these
wonderful
disruptive times?
This is a very interesting thing. I was coming to the other part of which is, so you have asked me all those questions of the world. I think there's no question left for me to answer.
I took it from your
yeah. So you want me to answer and give you a solution for all the problems of the world. Let me try to kind of experiment, innovate, and think differently to attempt. And let me take an attempt. Let's take. I have a zoom camera. Let me zoom backwards first. Let me close the aperture. Let me zoom backwards. What have you faced? Unprecedented, unpredictable, which is a decade of acceleration of change, and one exponential change leading to exponential opportunities. That's what two different ways I would like to look at it. So as I talk to you, I'm looking at the horizon outside, the sky, blue sky, and I'm thinking, if last year clarified anything to us, it is the 2020 decade itself. If you look at last 20 years, is of consequence, because the pace of change is not only going to accelerate further after 2020, because it's going to further accelerate and further it could be disruptive. So we are living through digital, as you rightly said earlier, that these are the changes, digital, geopolitical, you see the geopolitical unrests happening, societal transformations, and the likes of which the world has never seen before. So some experts, even if I was talking to somebody in Stanford, and we were doing some research, and we are currently on with this research, and a lot of research, about 2,000 organizations, 100, 200 CEOs, and different cross-section of people we are trying to say. So some experts have gone so far as to predict that there will be more innovation over the next decade than there was over the course of past century. So if you look at it, the pace of change, if I need to give you a little rough figure, and which is a realistic figure, it could be different for different industries, that we need to really understand. That figure, if I could give you, the next 10 years change will be more than any 250 years of change at to the power 250. That is the speed of change which we are going to see. We are working with a client. They are into business of innovation, like we are working in the business of artificial intelligence, changing organizations, digital transformation, and all of them. And we work with both people, technology, and innovation, that being our design, being our key technique. People would like to actually dream for a better future for everyone. Even the people who are joining the organization, they want to be heard, their voices, they want that they need to be given a free space, what we call autonomy, mastery, and freedom in some form. And people want people to be given freedom to work from anywhere and everywhere now, because that was earlier given as a perk. And now if you don't create an ecosystem where the voices are not heard, they're not treated with respect, their voices are not heard, they're not given a space to fail and experiment, you cannot turn your vision into reality. After all, you alone can't turn that vision into reality. After all, 10% of or 5% of your potential, if you are using, then you can't accelerate and keep pace with the change which is happening. And at the same mindset, continue in the same mindset, both regressive and progressive. If that's a regressive mindset, it will never unite teams. People wanted to tell us in our survey that those companies who are very progressive, they take care of the environment, they are innovative, they have good, cool policies, no office space, no uniform, other things like rookies. Millennials, forget about it, zillennials. They want to work with companies who really give them space to work. There's no command and control. They know their leaders are super empowering, going to super empower them. So that mindset of regressive mindset, and one is progressive mindset, is going to be very important for the leaders. And the what we found from that research was that, you know, the people who are working, youngsters, technology stalwarts, and people who are really mad or crazy about technology, they want some of the real-time directions from the leaders. Otherwise, they are not going to be led by them. So they want the leaders to be approachable. They want them to inspire them. They want them to really help them succeed. So if that is not happening, and by the way, this new world of what we say, the pandemics, people want leaders to give all the answers. Leaders don't have all the answers. They want everything from the leader. But if the leader is still approachable and human, I think they will give you the humanity back. They will give you the trust and everything back. So transparent leadership. So in a way, the 2020, as I said, is a decade of consequence. Let me zoom out now. The zoom in was there, the zoom out, and the pace of change is going to accelerate, as I said. So we are looking at, as we are into business of artificial intelligence design, as I said, in the leading product innovation and platform and experience innovation. Our company, what we have tried to create a flexible ecosystem, where we ask people to dare and dream, to ideate that how they can improve the customer experiences. And they should dream for a better experience, better product, better design. So one team is there who are looking at the future continuously, innovation team. And the one team is there which is looking at delivery. So design and innovation is one team, continuously looking at, with the telescope, what is the future like? They're trend spotters. And we need to collaborate with these guys to turn this vision into reality. So we have to be continuously on the run to really see them, what they're doing, help them, pep them up, clap for them, celebrate this failure, celebrate this, and give them a direction also. So we need to have the compass as well as the clarity of the what to do. So we continue with the same mindset every day, and every day is a different day as we leap into the near future. So let me share some of the major trends, Anirudh, shaping the industry, which is 2021 forwards, which is going to be very, very important. And one of the trends which we see today, which is altered the entire human behavior and the humanity, is the humanitarian, what we call the biggest humanitarian health crisis, because lives and livelihoods are lost. And I really feel bad because we see a lot of people in our families and communities, leaving us, which is unfortunate, and my heart really pains for that. Broken health systems is one, where the health system is totally exposed. We are not prepared. We knew that this kind of a thing will happen. A lot of predictions happened earlier also, but we never thought that this is the extent of challenge and the damage it can do. The whole world got closed. Millions of people fell sick, their lives were lost. And the third trend which I see, which is not like any researcher trend, the practical trend which I see, is economic inequality, which is going to really affect our enterprises. Because at the end of the day, we have to work with them. The fourth trend which I see, political rivalries and divisions across China, India, or geopolitical rivalries, the security rivalries, the border issues. These are going to really create tariff issues, trade issues, taxation issues, transfer pricing. A lot of these issues will be actually technology transfer, immigration rules. A lot of these things are going to become a challenge, because everybody is trying to fight for their own supremacy through their own leadership. And those leadership could be in various forms: intellectual, soft power, hard power, whatever it is. Racial injustice is going to really alter the way of our thinking, which has already started happening around the world. And one of the biggest things which we see is the brittle supply chain disruption is really happening already. And there is a disruption and there's a huge opportunity to shift your current lens from there to innovate, kind of do a prototype, create those platforms, smart, intelligent platforms. I can share, but there's no time. There are a lot of things which we are doing with a lot of people is going to really transform the world and bring the cost down and everything down. The other trend is climate emergency. I won't like to really expand on climate emergency because you all know pollution, climate emergency, all of them. And these are going to really create health problems. The other could be, if I think it will be a digital divide. It's a great challenge. You see the education, the CBSE conducting exams, and now my son is in grade 12, and now how it is going to really create a lot of discomfort to a lot of people, because a lot of people don't have the bandwidth, and a lot of people don't have the bandwidth, and those people who have also, they're not able to really connect on a virtual environment. So it's a real to virtual world of work, and this technology as it is, we are going to create a lot of challenges as well as opportunities for you. So I think looking at the future forward, we have to, in a way, if I could design something for the audience in a way which could be understood by people, and for a kind of a shake off design for leadership. How do you shake off the leadership? Is that you have to be an urgent optimist, not optimist, urgent optimist, that there is no way, we have to do it. A future thinker and a lifelong learner, to look for future forward and then work backward. Future forward, work backward. The big question 10 years from now will be, what do you think will be the biggest positive change we will have made as a result of the pandemic? And you can feel free to answer this question here, or as you go back to your organizations, write down this question. 10 years from now, what do you think will be the biggest positive change that will make, will have made as a result of the pandemic? You can answer this at a personal level, at a local level, at a society level, at a global level, the question which you asked, Anirudh. And there could be 100 possibilities for this imagination. And let's do an imagination boot camp or a kind of a campaign, if I would like to say. We celebrate imagination, innovation, imagination festivals. We are doing it in our companies, and we do it in our own small way. We don't create a hype around everything. So we do hundreds of possibilities, and please write down, do a huddle, do crowdsource these ideas and get hundreds of possibilities. From there, you filter those ideas which are going to really become the $1 billion or $1 trillion ticket items for you, because the year 2020 has shown us that the terms which are like unthinkable or unimaginable no longer apply and no longer exist. Sorry, unthinkable does not apply. Unimaginable does not apply. Everything else is up for grabs. So let's make a better future, and let's make sense of all these things. And so I'm happy to talk forwards in terms of society, in terms of the climate, in terms of operations, supply chain. I can talk about all those areas where I have experience, when I have done my own work, practice, and research, so that we can become future-proof and predict and remember the future that what we created has benefited millions and billions of people. The future challenge will be, the best way to create the future is to create it. Someone said, if you can't create the future, predict the future, you create the future. And there are ways to really create the future, just not artifacts for the future. No, we are talking about even mimicking brain, hacking all of those things, intuition. So you have to use all your intuition and intellect to really create the possibilities for the future. And that mindset, that reimagination will lead to recoding of the business and rewiring of the entire structure and strategy of the organization. Over to.
Yeah, thank you, Vijay. I mean, your program is, we can carry forward for like 5 days, but we have time limitations. We have to conclude by 6 also. So maybe we'll stress a little bit. But it's wonderful. I was listening to you, that create a space to fail, dare to dream, and everything is up for grab.
Right.
So there is no question of being anything impossible or unthinkable. Everything is available to you.
Right.
I think Swati has been quietly listening to our conversation, and I'm sure that she has got a lot of unique perspective to bring in to enrich this discussion further. Over to you, Swati.
At least the skill set part, because we are talking about the mindset and the thinking, and now the skill set part would be, I'm sure Swati is going to take up that. So that's an important kind of.
I'm sure she has got her unique perspective.
Okay.
She would like to.
Okay. Yeah. Understood. Fine.
Catch up with you on this conversation.
Let's go ahead.
Thank you. Over to you, Swati.
Yeah, thanks, Anirudh. Thanks, Vijay. We've been really listening you, but the
Wow.
challenge that we are running in is we are ahead. We've actually shot up the time as we planned to wrap it up by 6:10. So, what in the interest of everybody and respecting the timeline that we have committed to our participants, we would have to escape the rapid fire round. So we would
Yeah,
not
sure.
be able to organize that. And
Right.
and I also see most of the things that you have been talking actually have been very beautifully answered. Second is that I do have some few points to discuss with you today. I mean,
Right.
a lot of it that Anirudh has already discussed, the interior internal view, but I had something on AI and I also had something on skill sets. So,
Yes.
but I can
Get
ask
that.
one only
Yes.
because again, there is a shortage of time. So if
AI
you are
will
okay.
take time. So, but I
Yeah, so
think I
let me
think
jump over on the skill set. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's good. Great. So this is my last question, and then we have a few questions from the audience. We'll
Right.
take it and then we'll conclude that.
That's right.
So over to you, Vijay, for
Yeah.
the point that I am asking
Yeah.
you, or just
Sure.
setting the context for you to
Yeah.
understand
Sure.
where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So empathy is emerging as one of the strongest virtues for leaders in these challenging times. Managing hybrid teams through inclusive development will require new skills and change of mindset of the leadership.
Right.
Here is we want to know your approach for winning ways of co-creating a better and more sustainable future, embracing a declaration of interdependence. Over to you,
Wow,
Vijay.
I think I will take 2 days to talk about this, but I think,
Yeah,
because a
we'll have a
declaration of,
brief conversation
I think
today.
I have been a part of the United Nations working on the earlier the part of the signatory from India for the United Nations Millennium Development Goals. Now also the SDG 17 goals. You
Mm.
can't wrap it up in 1 minute or 2 minutes. But I think if you look at it, just two factors which you talked about, humility and empathy. To
Mhm.
So if you look at it, the people you are leading have to understand that they have big expectations from you, right? Because we are looking at giving solutions, being environmentally responsible, people, planet, purpose, and prosperity, right? These are four things: people, planet, purpose, and prosperity. Everybody is aligning to this new sense of leadership. Those who are not, they're exposed, they will be out soon. And I am not predicting this. This has started happening every day. Every moment people are getting disrupted. So they want you to be perfect as an organization and often forget that you are human. But the more human you are, humility, with them, the more trust and empathy they lend it to you. So values such as empathetic leadership are at an all-time high. And I can give you a quote, my research on empathy and resilience and the practical research which we are doing for the kind of projects which we are working with people. Companies are increasingly looking for leaders with high EQ and humility. And not EQ. EQ is also gone ahead to what we call emotional agility. After a rigorous research of about more than 7 years, it came out that most powerfully transformative executives and leaders, uh, uh, they possess a paradoxical mixture, if I would say, of humility and professional will. You remember Jim Collins said that level 5 leadership, and it will be professional
Mm.
will, humility, and professional will. And that was so rightly said then and today also. So people are generally timid and ferocious, shy and fearless. They're rare and unstoppable. This trait we found was very, very visible. So this trait, if you use humility, because people want you to be superhuman or human, and they will give it back to you the best they have, that can catapult a company to kind of a world in which you can never ever imagine they possible. So most appropriately, I have answered it. EQ should also advance to emotional agility, and the emotional agility, what I wanted to say, what it means actually, because I don't want to confuse with jargons. And there is the Declaration of Independence, what you said is a big word. I am saying organizations and leaders, please get unstuck first from your mind. Please look at reimagining, embrace change, and thrive with a mindset of not just survivalism, but survivalism. Survive and thrive both, because you have to survive and thrive. So emotional agility is important. Why? Because you have to be aware and accepting of all your emotions, even learning from the most difficult ones, by the way, because it means getting beyond your conditioned and pre-programmed. There are psychologists in this group, they will tell us that pre-programmed, preconditioned cognitive and emotional responses, what we call your hooks, the hooks you have to live in the present moment with the clear understanding a reading of the present circumstances, responding appropriately, and then acting in alignment with the deepest values, which is what is more important. Over to Swati.
Thank you so much. I understand where you're coming from, Vijay, and these kind of conversations can take maybe for a person in a stature like yours, may take maybe 1 or 2 days program, to at least come to some level of understanding on these leadership values. It's time for all of us to have the audience question. And here I am going to read out one question from the audience, and then I would really like to wrap it up. So Vijay, are you ready?
Yes.
Great. So this is slightly interesting, and this is from my friend Charu. Thank you, Charu, for asking this question, by the way. What is bionic leadership for kids? What are the opportunities for kids to develop this
Wow.
leadership style? Very
Wow,
interesting.
wow. Oh, wow, wonderful. I think this is an exciting question for me. You know what
Yeah.
happened? Bionic is basically what our friend Rajiv says, technology plus humanity, exploring the possibilities of the future. And I'm a bionic leader. That's the reason why I wrote in my introduction. People don't understand what is bionic. You can't be self-styled bionic leader. You have to practice. And that's what we are trying to do. Marrying both the design thinking, empathy, and all of them. And something what you believe in, what you love doing it. Remember a person from somewhere in the world, his name I'm forgetting, Sansa or something. This boy started, just a 6 years old boy. I think he loves playing toys and other things, right? He created a video on YouTube, and his video got so viral during the pandemic. Do you know what kind of ingenuity, what kind of talent this person showed, and improved and improvised upon that, the game and the toys and the all of those things which he has. He displayed all of it in a manner on the in the YouTube and to the open to the world. This guy earned $35 million. What could be a biggest bionic movement, a bionic kind of a craze which he created with using his imagination, that this simple toy can move the world, and simple toy can be really so interesting. They're playing with the toys, kids and all over the world, they saw it. And Kyo Sansa, this person, I can tell you the name. And there was another person in the Korea also, which was limited to Korea, but this person was like limited, open to the world, and $35 million. So now this millennials, forget about millennials, zillennials are already started having this, bringing this technology savviness. Our children are born, they don't want to drink milk or whatever unless you show them something on the YouTube or on some song or video. So love what you do and believe in what you do, and create that excitement around your understanding of technology, how it can create value, how it can create meaning, how it can create impact, how it can create a kind of fun. So using technology, you can do everything now. Music or OTT platforms, now you see everybody is becoming so creative. So what we thought was impossible is becoming possible if you really use that bionic leadership, technology plus humanity and the human spirit. If you can unleash and unlock that spirit, the possibilities are immense. You can do anything actually. And I have said in the beginning, you can do anything. So that's the small kind of response to that question. That bionic leaders are the most in demand and they are rarest, and the leadership gap of bionic leaders is all-time high. Only 7-8% leaders would be bionic as of now in the country or in the world over, less than that. So there's a great need, there's a great way to go, and I can give you all ways and do's to really develop bionic leaders. How do we develop that leader? There's no book written on that maybe, and even if there's something written there, which you can write so many chapters and innovate on that. So I think agility and humility and empathy is very important to really see the world, what people need, and it is all happening because customers and people want some new and great experience and the new ways of doing it. Thank you.
Fabulous, awesome. I'm sure, Charu, your question is answered. And for other questions that we have received, we'll post to you, Vijay, and we would be having their details in the Google form. So we'll forward the answers that you will offer to the other questions that we have received in our chat box.
But I will request
Now
one thing to Swati,
yeah.
that
Mhm.
we should spend only 1 minute on the
Mhm.
greater skill reset, because there are a lot of audience which wanted to know from me
Yeah,
that what is the game
sure.
changing skill sets and future skill sets which you see from your lens, not from the book lens or any research, the research which I have done.
Mhm.
Maybe That research, which I promised them that I will tell them, and there are many of them who will say yes to me. There are a couple of
Sure,
things
go
which are
ahead, please.
game changing. So I will just spend 1 minute on that, if you allow me.
Yeah, please, it'll be pleasure.
So the great this great skill set or the skill reset which is happening was in Davos, that people said it's a great reset moment and a great great moment to refresh, as Satya Nadella said. So the game-changing skills which you want to have, and you will not get this here and there. I'm using it as a bionic leader. So that will answer a lot of the question. As a bionic and a visionary leader, I have seen that future in front of me. In the next 100 days, 150 days, what has happened? And by the way, let me tell you, when I was seeing this future, I could only see 3 years, 4 years. But generally, normally people can only see up to 350 days in the future. Normally, which is required. One of the skills which is very important, which is required, is what I call strategic thinking and foresight. To develop the skill, I will take 1 day or 2 days we'll do a boot camp, and we'll try and see that how we can develop those skills. If I have to develop for my own people or for my own kids or for my anybody, strategic thinking is required like anything. Global citizenship means responsible global citizenship. The third is futurism. Futurism, that this is, I'm trying to share the data. The work is still in progress. And we are working at a global level on these, some of these bionic and game-changing skills, which is what I call futurism. The technology guys and the people leaders, they're working on inquiry about the future. What is that future happen? So you can go to buy a land in Mars, you can take some land, or you can take a lot of things from there, and you can do that. That's going to happen. So the future of people want to see the future of X, Y, Z, full of lifelong learning. The third important skill which we found was hyper awareness, hyper vigilant, cognitive and contextual intelligence. Again, to define this, we need more time. So you can design another webinar for this. Creative visualization and brain mind share hacks. Creative visualization and brain mind share. It looks to be very difficult to understand. It is as simple as it is. Technology is making it possible. Business productivity and organization designer. Organization design thinker. This is one of the leaders' traits, where you do a talent mining, future-proofing your business, you do risk mitigation, you also do emergency response development. And as you need to be a designer. And then the other thing is decision scientist. The other interesting thing which we found through our research from thousands of organizations, which what we are working on, is what we call transhumanism. Transhumanism, TRANS, humanism. We can really go to that level. The other one is competitive intelligence and breakthrough innovation mindset. This is actually happening with the game-changing companies like Airbnb and all of them, who are born in recession. Most of the people are born in recession. 57% of the companies in the world are born in times of crisis and recession. Look at it, what they have created. Then the other is imaginative thinking and curiosity. The next one is ecosystem thinking. That means system thinker, people, planet, purpose, and prosperity, as I shared with you. The other thing, these are not in correct order, but the random order, is what I call scenario planning. The scenario planning is just not scenario planning, which we have studied in management, but what we have to see, the sensing and sense making of the events and things. And the final skill, which I would like to say, is digital dexterity. Digital dexterity means the leaders need to be, or the students or any of the future leaders need to be a digital strategist. The second will be digital innovator, and the other will be digital driver. Forget about resilience and all deep listening and other skills which are all being discussed, and become a change and transformation accelerator for the company, for business outputs and for business delivery. We have to be mindful and purposeful through a transparent leadership to create a lot of economic value for scale, economic and sustainable value, of course, for scale to value, speed, scale to value. And you have to become a culture and a value shaper, because those are the things, if you do not. Finally, Rajiv will like it, my friend, and Mr. Gupta was also there, renewing humanity and upgrading mindset, plus multitude of behaviors which we are finding. This is work and still in progress. What all is coming, I will share maybe in some other time. And the new normal to new equal. Critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving were earlier there, but two more leadership ideas, phygital and servant leadership. And the other is leading with purpose and empathy, which I already said. So humility, humanity, and also hope and humor. these leadership qualities, humility, humanity, hope, and humor is also going to be very, very important in the times to come. But as you said, someone asked me a question: how do you build an inclusive, equitable, and regenerative economic system? My one answer would be conscientious and be compassionate as a leader, and you will be able to do that. And also, a point which I liked about the question was, what is crucial from being to becoming? Because, and I wanted to really wrap up this because I worked a little more hard to really answer this question. Life is not about expecting, friends, hoping and wishing. It is about doing, being, and becoming. I didn't say this. This is called Mike Dooley who said this. I studied a lot and I found this very meaningful. So friends, in the final state, I will say all of us are human beings with infinite potential, and we can achieve absolutely anything which we want to whatever we set our mind to. Just please allow yourself to go after something big and exciting, and it requires you to grow, change, learn, and achieve what you have been aspiring for. In fact, that's the greatest value that comes from pursuing your dreams. It's merely not about achieving the goal itself. It's who you become, a better version, who you become, not be, who you become a better version of yourself in the process. So who you are you becoming then? That's the question. Who are you going to become then in the future? Your future starts now. I would like to wish you a great future ahead, and be safe and take care of all of yourself and everybody around yourself. Thank you very much.
Amazing. I really fell short of words to, even conclude the powerful way of your expressions throughout the session. And especially, Vijay, when we started the conversation to have you on Feed Friday series, we did discuss about the 4 I's, the 4 D's, and you said, wait, Swati, I would not share it now. I think there is much more. There are C's, there are H, there is P. I mean, every alphabet, the way you have beautifully created that and have logically given it a shape, and each alphabet that you have talked about, or each word, actually has a lot of meaning in today as well as tomorrow. So it's absolutely apt. And wherever you're saying that, or whenever you're saying that, these things would take time, I totally agree. They would take more than a day to even come up with the 4 words. For example, the 4H that you just recently said, or the 4 C's or the 4 P's, to actually even iterate them about what it means in today's times and what it would be, the change that would be. So thank you very much for such a powerful session.
Deeply humbled.
Me too.
Deeply humbled.
Me too. Me too. It's amazing to have you today. And maybe I would just like to share my deeper thanks and gratitude for all the knowledge that you've brought to the forum today, to make it success. I think the few things that I am taking forward with me is that, this is a time where corporates are struggling to emerge from this health crisis and the economic fallout that we are seeing every day. Even the Fortune 500 companies that you just narrated was really quite, it never crossed my mind to know that, oh yes, this is happening. So very interesting facts that you brought. And I think for me, it's important that as a leader, we have to be very clear about the purpose that we are on, very clear about what's the role, and take everybody along. It's important in this time to see whom we serve. It's not only the internal stakeholders or the shareholders, but the larger consumers, and who are changing. Their preferences are changing, may not be just for one time, probably in a longer term. And also driven by internal values, empathy, humility, the way you've defined them. It's not a choice now. It's actually there. It's a necessity. And be authentic. That's something which I am really taking with me, Vijay. And I'm sure our audience, with the flooding messages that they have given on the chat, that this has been amazing learning session. There's so much of learning for all walks of people today in the group. I'm sure we all will benefit with it. And with this, I would like to express my thanks and gratitude to you, Vijay, to my co-anchor Anirudh, and to Rajiv ji always being there for us to encourage and be our well-wisher, to Futuralasta, and also my entire group of participants here today. Thank you very much for making this a success. And just a last on a lighter note, because you said humor is important, the 4H. So I would just like to say that sometimes the gender stereotypical is really interesting. When you were talking about yes man, I was happy. There was no yes woman. So thank you very much for changing the notion. no, I'm happy. Actually, all the other women would be happy that there is a different way to see the gender stereotypical pointers. So thank you very much on that note. I would
But I liked your work
thanks
on the
everyone.
inclusive leadership, what you are doing on the SAY Foundation. Would like to really be happy to tell our guys that they should connect with both the Futurelista, because the future fit leadership topic itself
Yeah.
is so humongous, and this is so relevant.
Mm.
And SAY Foundation is doing great work and also Priyanka and other people are doing great work. So corporates who are there here, request all of you to really zoom in and zoom out, as I said. And if you don't, then you know where you're going to be. And I'm telling you, it's an exciting time. It's exponential. So develop those skills, and I'll be happy to talk about. I haven't started my session today. This was just even not a part of the trailer. So
Yes.
please ping in, please ask questions, because the future is not answers. It's question about all asking the right question. And the secret of somebody's asking a question to me just now on a mobile, that what are the skills, how do you develop the skills? I said there are what kind of skills: hard skills, domain skills, subject. Some of them are not yet written. And the soft skills. Then I said smart skills, technology related smart skills and tools and technologies. And the fourth category of looking at organizations to develop skills will be adjacent skills. Adjacent skills, besides softer skills, will be very important. And these are all, some of them are very new skills, new age skills, what I call. And not many people have got any idea about new age skills. So this question was asked on a mobile, so I answered. You see how agile we are to answer questions on mobile, iPad, and everywhere. And great, guys, I had a lot of fun, by the way, talking to you. I was so engrossed and involved. That is one of the first I's I wanted to share secretly to Swati. I means involved. If you don't get involved, you're nowhere. Forget about innovation. Get involved, and create the future you want. Your future is now. Future is every moment. Please be the future that you want to see for yourself. And I'm so happy that all of you joined from various places. The audience I would love to take the audience one-on-one, but this platform didn't allow, the time didn't allow. But I think this just was the beginning. We just started scratching the surface. And I'm sure Future Fit Leadership will provide so many forums and so many ideas to people to develop the future leadership, which is the need and order of the day. I think I did my job well. I need a rest and pause now. Thank you very much for all of you.
Thank you.
Have fun, enjoy. And I really, really had fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's be the change. That's one thing that we take from this session. Let's be the change. Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you, Anirudh. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.